Every great achievement begins long before anyone sees the results. It starts in the silent conversations you have with yourself. Life doesn't become difficult because you're weak, it becomes difficult because it's preparing you for a greater version of yourself. The strongest people aren't those who never struggle there, the ones who refuse to let struggle define them. If you want a positive mental attitude, you must first decide that your circumstances will never have the final say over your future. Many people postpone their dreams because they're waiting for confidence, certainty, or the perfect opportunity. But growth has never depended on perfect conditions. Progress belongs to those who move despite uncertainty. A positive mindset isn't created when life becomes easier. It is created when you continue moving, even while life remains challenging. Every step forward strengthens your belief that you are capable of more than you imagined. Your thoughts become your beliefs become your actions, and your actions create your future. Every day you choose what enters your mind through conversations, media, habits, and relationships. If you constantly consume fear, doubt will grow. If you consistently consume wisdom, discipline, and hope, confidence will naturally follow. Protect your mindset because your future is built from the thoughts you repeat most often. Failure is not evidence that you should quit. It is evidence that you're learning something success could never teach. Every setback carries a lesson that makes your next attempt stronger. The people who build extraordinary lives don't avoid failure, they refuse to waste it. Instead of asking, "Why did this happen to me?" ask, "What is this preparing me for?" That single question transforms disappointment into determination. Mental toughness isn't built during extraordinary moments. It's built in ordinary routines repeated consistently. Wake up with intention. Keep your promises to yourself. Finish what you start. Practice gratitude even when nothing feels perfect. These small disciplines create an identity that cannot be shaken by temporary obstacles. When your habits become stronger than your excuses, your mindset becomes nearly impossible to break. The world doesn't need more people who complain about problems. It needs people who inspire solutions. Your attitude has the power to influence your family, your friends, your workplace, and even strangers who watch how you respond under pressure. When you choose optimism over fear, courage over comfort, and purpose over excuses, you become living proof that resilience is possible. And that's how an unbreakable positive mental attitude is created not in one extraordinary moment, but through thousands of ordinary decisions made with extraordinary commitment. Most people believe the biggest battles in life happen in the outside world. They think success is determined by competition, opportunity, talent, or luck. But the truth is, the greatest battle you'll ever fight happens in a place no one else can see. It happens inside your mind. Before you conquer a challenge in the world, you must first conquer the voice inside you that says you can't. Every dream is either built or destroyed by the conversations you have with yourself when no one else is listening. Think about the moments when you've wanted to quit. The obstacle wasn't always the difficulty of the task. It was the doubt that quietly whispered, "Maybe you're not good enough." That whisper has stopped more dreams than failure ever could. The mind has an incredible ability to create possibilities, but it also has the power to create fear. The difference between those who move forward and those who stay stuck isn't that one group has fewer problems. It's that one group refuses to surrender control of their thinking. A negative thought doesn't arrive with a warning. It slips into your mind disguised as logic. It tells you to play it safe, to avoid risk, to expect disappointment so you won't get hurt. At first it sounds reasonable, but over time those thoughts become beliefs, and those beliefs become decisions. Eventually, your life begins to reflect the limits you've accepted instead of the potential you possess. Every morning you wake up, two voices compete for your attention. One voice reminds you of your past mistakes, your failures, and every reason you should lower your expectations. The other reminds you that every new day is another chance to grow, improve, and become stronger. Both voices exist. The one that shapes your future is the one you choose to believe. The strongest people aren't those who never experience fear. They experience fear just like everyone else. The difference is they refuse to let fear make their decisions. Courage isn't the absence of doubt. Courage is choosing action even while doubt is present. That's how resilience is built. Every difficult decision becomes another victory over the limitations your mind tries to create. Your environment influences your thinking more than you realize. The conversations you hear, the content you consume, and the people you spend time with all leave fingerprints on your mindset. If you constantly surround yourself with negativity, eventually negativity begins to sound like truth. But when you intentionally feed your mind with ideas that challenge, encourage, and inspire you, your perspective changes. Suddenly, obstacles begin to look like opportunities to grow instead of reasons to stop. Mental strength is not developed during moments of comfort. It is forged during uncertainty, disappointment, rejection, and struggle. Every challenge asks the same question. Will you allow this experience to define you, or will you use it to develop you? The answer to that question determines the direction of your life. Difficult seasons are not signs that you've lost your way. They are opportunities to discover strengths you never knew you had. You don't have to control everything that happens around you. You only have to control how you respond. That is where your real power lives. The moment you stop blaming circumstances and start taking ownership of your mindset, you reclaim the authority to shape your future. No obstacle is greater than a mind that refuses to surrender, and no victory is more meaningful than the one won over your own doubts. Every lasting transformation begins the moment you decide that your thoughts will become your greatest ally instead of your greatest enemy. How many dreams have been delayed by one simple sentence? I'll start when the time is right. It sounds responsible. It sounds patient. But more often than not, it's fear wearing the mask of wisdom. The truth is, perfect conditions have never existed. There has never been a moment in history when every obstacle disappeared, every answer became clear, and every risk vanished. The people who build remarkable lives are not the ones who wait for certainty. They are the ones who decide that uncertainty is not a reason to stand still. The greatest opportunities rarely arrive wrapped in comfort. They usually appear disguised as difficult decisions, uncomfortable conversations, and uncertain beginnings. Most people walk away because they expect confidence to come before action. But confidence has never worked that way. Confidence is the reward for taking action, not the requirement for it. You don't become ready and then begin. You begin, and through the process, you become ready. Too many people spend years preparing for a life they never actually start. They collect information, watch videos, read books, and make endless plans. Preparation is valuable, but there comes a point where preparation becomes procrastination. Knowledge without action changes nothing. A perfect plan that never leaves the notebook will always lose to an imperfect plan that is put into motion. Progress has always belonged to those willing to move before every answer is revealed. Fear has an incredible ability to convince you that waiting is the safest option. It tells you to wait until you have more experience, more money, more support, or more confidence. But every season of waiting creates another reason to wait. Months become years, and years become regrets. The opportunity you keep postponing doesn't disappear because you lack potential. It disappears because hesitation quietly steals the moments that could have changed your life. Think about every successful person you admire. None of them began with unlimited resources or perfect timing. They started with questions instead of answers. They faced criticism before encouragement. They experienced rejection before recognition. What separated them from everyone else was not extraordinary talent. It was their willingness to take the first step while the path ahead remained uncertain. They understood that clarity is discovered through movement, not through endless thinking. Growth has always demanded discomfort. Every meaningful achievement begins with doing something unfamiliar. The first speech feels awkward. The first business idea feels risky. The first workout feels exhausting. The first chapter feels impossible to write. But every repetition transforms uncertainty into skill. The things that once intimidated you eventually become part of who you are because you chose action instead of hesitation. Life does not reward those who wait for ideal circumstances. It rewards those who create momentum despite imperfect ones. Every small action sends a message to your mind that you are capable of growth. Every completed task builds discipline. Every challenge faced strengthens resilience. Momentum isn't created by giant leaps. It is created by consistent movement, one decision at a time. Small victories compound into extraordinary transformations that once seemed impossible. There will always be reasons to delay your goals. There will always be distractions competing for your attention and excuses offering temporary comfort. But every day you postpone the life you want is another day spent living beneath your potential. The future belongs to those who stop negotiating with fear and start acting with purpose. Your circumstances don't have to be perfect for your commitment to become powerful. The moment you choose progress over perfection, you begin building the life you've been waiting for. Your mind is like the foundation of a building. Everything you create in life stands on it. Every decision you make, every habit you build, every relationship you nurture, and every goal you pursue is influenced by what you allow into your thoughts each day. Most people carefully choose the food they eat because they understand that unhealthy meals weaken the body. Yet they pay very little attention to the information, conversations, and influences they consume, even though these shape the mind that controls every action they take. A strong life begins with a well-guarded mind. Every day your attention is being fought over. News headlines compete for your emotions. Social media competes for your focus. Negative conversations compete for your energy. Without realizing it, you can spend hours absorbing fear, comparison, anger, and doubt. None of these things simply disappear when you close your phone or leave the room. They stay with you, influencing your perspective long after the moment has passed. What repeatedly enters your mind eventually becomes the lens through which you see the world. The quality of your thinking is determined by the quality of what you consistently consume. If your days are filled with complaints, gossip, and pessimism, your thoughts will naturally begin to reflect those patterns. You'll start expecting disappointment before opportunity. You'll notice obstacles before possibilities. You'll see reasons why something cannot be done instead of searching for ways to make it happen. The mind does not remain neutral. It grows in the direction of whatever you feed it most often. This is why successful people become intentional about their mental environment. They understand that protecting their thoughts is not selfish, it is necessary. They choose books that challenge them to grow instead of content that keeps them distracted. They spend time with people who encourage responsibility instead of excuses. They seek conversations that inspire action instead of reinforcing fear. Every positive influence becomes another brick in the foundation of a resilient mindset. Be careful about the voices you give authority over your life. Not every opinion deserves space in your thinking. Some people speak from experience, while others speak from insecurity. Some encourage your growth, while others project their own fears onto your dreams. If you accept every negative opinion as truth, you slowly surrender control of your future to people who may have never pursued their own potential. Wisdom comes from learning whose voices deserve your attention and whose opinions should simply pass by without changing your direction. The stories you repeatedly tell yourself are just as important as the information you consume. If you constantly replay memories of failure, your confidence begins to shrink. If you repeatedly remind yourself of your strengths, your progress, and the lessons you've learned, your perspective changes. Your inner dialogue becomes either your greatest source of encouragement or your greatest obstacle. Every achievement begins with believing that growth is possible before the evidence becomes visible. Gratitude is one of the healthiest forms of mental nourishment. It does not ignore life's difficulties, but it refuses to let them become the only thing you see. When you intentionally recognize what is still working, what you are learning, and how far you've already come, your mind develops resilience instead of resentment. Gratitude trains your attention to notice possibilities even during difficult seasons. It reminds you that challenges may shape your journey, but they do not define your identity. Your future will always reflect what you consistently allow into your mind today. Every thought you entertain, every conversation you embrace, and every influence you follow is quietly building the person you are becoming. Guard your attention with purpose. Fill your mind with ideas that strengthen your character, expand your vision, and challenge you to become better than you were yesterday. The strongest mindset is never built by accident. It is built through intentional choices repeated every single day until excellence becomes your natural way of thinking.